In the second part, we will start to have the extra items here. First of all, I defined a class for an item, and we mentioned that all of the items has a description, price per one item, and the total quantity. So if you would like to compute, let's say, a probability of price of each item is going to be the total quantity times the price per one. Maybe it's good to write this, to rename this one as a total quantity than just quantity, to be more clear. So this is now what represent an item in general. But we also mentioned that every item has its own details. Now this is where the inheritance come. The book here as an item will have the same items, but let's say it also has an author, for example. The food maybe has some expiration date, for example. That's all. So every item might have extra details. Given that these extra details didn't change the price information, then we just keep inheriting the price property. Now moving to the invoice itself. We mentioned that the invoice has set of items, and I added here some ID for the invoice. You might skip for now. And this is list of the item that the user will keep adding for it. And the add item here is just adding an item here. In future, adding item might be more complicated. That's why I prefer to have it as a method here. Finally, the amount to pay for an invoice. And the reason we're adding here an amount to pay, because we would like both the invoice and the employee, both of them to has an amount to pay. And by the way, what someone might say, given that the relationship between them, I am going to define class payable, and the staff member is inheriting from payable, and the invoice is inheriting from the payable. That's totally okay, and it's even going to share like a more of share more of intention. Remember, we once talked about how the probabilities idea can be used with classes. Don't mix that with the word probability here. When I make a class and name it payable class, this is so different from a person is a maybe a human, like a student is a person relationship. This is more like a probability, a characteristic in a class. You are saying that this is a class payable, and everything that is inheriting from me is supporting a pay method. Anyway, given the duck typing in Python, we can skip that. So I'm defining here amount to pay for the invoice. But what is the amount to pay now? It's mainly the sum of the amount to pays or the prices of all of these items. So now a simple list comprehension here, iterate over all of the items, compute item.price, sum all of them, we are done. Finally, the payroll here. The payroll will have list of payables, which could be, as I said, it could be an invoice and it could be an employee. And the amount to pay here for the all of my payables, again iterate over all of your payables and call the amount to pay method. And here is the company class, which is just like a driver for us. The class is starting to add different bunch of payables. I'm adding a payable as a volunteer, hourly employee, salaried employee, commission based employee, and so on. I created an invoice, added a couple of items, and added it to the system here. And finally, I did payroll amount to pay. I hope you didn't get lost in the code, and I hope it's easy to get, and I hope it's pushing your skills up more and more so that you can imagine and divide the systems in your code.